How the heck is everybody doing today? Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. We made it through another week. If you are joining us live, say what's up in the chat. Love to know that you are here and where you're tuning in from. This is our Friday decompression session. This is all about getting the stress out before we get the weekend going. So live at 1:45, it is here on the East Coast. I am happy to make it through another week. I cannot believe we are more than halfway through the year. We're coming up on the conclusion of yet another month. That is crazy to me. Tatiana, welcome to the show. Glad you're checking us out today. Appreciate that. Appreciate the love. If you guys don't follow Tatiana, be sure to do so over on LinkedIn. Super fine individual. Anthony, what's up, my man? Glad to have you here. It is boiling here in Ohio today. I've got the AC running at full blast. There's that crazy weather we've got going on here in the States. Tatiana is here on the East Coast as well. Awesome. Happy to have everybody today on a Friday afternoon. We're going to maybe get clicky with it. We're going to show you some automations. You guys know how I am. I'm a process and systems junkie, but this is also an Ask Me Anything session. So feel free to ask me anything. I am happy to answer any and all questions. That's what I'm all about on a Friday afternoon as we roll into the weekend. You are more than welcome, Tatiana. We really need to do a show together. Yeah, I love what you've got going on. The spirit, genuine human being. So like I said, if you're over on LinkedIn, check Tatiana out. Yes, Anthony, he said yes. It is toasty, I'm sure, over in Houston for you as well, my friend. I'm happy. Another week has gone by, quite frankly. Happy to be out of July. They said, I just read, hottest month on record. But yeah.
There's no global warming. Global warming is a myth.
Anyway, we could go off on a wild tangent with that one. So again, this is Ask Me Anything if you're curious about my setup. Happy to go through my rig with you if that's the questions that you have about live streaming setup. Happy to answer any and all questions on gear. Yes, you'll notice I've been going old school lately. Went and got me some Sharpie markers. Been testing some things out for our live streams. But yeah, so Tatiana, we're going to have to get that together. We absolutely need to get that going. So anyway, I will message you, my friend. We will get that up and running. I've been wanting to do more stuff with creators. But I have had a lot of questions. I did not do a Tech Tribe live stream this month. We're trying to kind of changing gears a little bit with the Tech Tribe. But I've had a lot of people ask questions about Growably or High Level. If you're not familiar with what that is, I'm going to give you a brief tour today. So Anthony, yes, love the new keyboard. I'm a trackpad person. If you're a mouse or keyboard and you're watching this, drop that in the comments, whether or not you are a mouse or trackpad user or prefer. I have been using trackpads for the better part of 10 years. So I love me some Apple trackpad, the Logitech MX keys. But yes, I do everything on trackpad. Got rid of my iPad and went straight to an M2 MacBook Air. Just because I prefer the trackpad. But if you are a mouse user, even if you're watching this on the replay, put that in the comments, say hello. See 5 people lurking over on LinkedIn. So if you're here just joining us, say what's up in the chat. I would love to hear from you and let me know where you're tuning in from as well. Anthony says, yes, I prefer the Kensington trackball. I used that for a long time. I was very much the trackball till I got some carpal tunnel-ish issues in my thumb. But yeah, I can... Anyway, my days of using the trackball were over. Tatiana says, I use a mouse, but trackpad is on my list. Can you speak to the key differences, pros or cons? For me, Tatiana, the pinch and zoom. Let me flip over here. Like pinch and zoom on here, if I need to zoom in on something, especially like if I'm in eCam or something, I like being able to pinch and zoom. I like being able to scroll up and down with my hand. I'm gonna flip over here, so I'll show you. Like this screen right here is running on a second monitor over here in my setup. So if I just swipe with all 3 fingers over, I can go from screen to screen. It's just things that I like with, and again, you might be able to do that with mouse, but I just prefer the trackpad, especially editing in Premiere. I totally prefer the trackpad for editing. Again, it's just personal preference. I just have gotten used to it, and I don't know, I prefer it. Maybe we can talk about that on our show, Tatiana. I can run through what are some key differences, pros and cons. I don't really have any cons, especially with the newer trackpads are rechargeable. The old trackpad, let me see if I might actually have one in the drawer. Hold on one second. I do. Here's the original trackpad that is probably 12 years old. The thing I didn't like with it, it takes AA batteries. This one recharges with USB-C, so I love that much better. The battery life is incredible. But yeah, the trackpad for me is my go-to. Anthony said, not a thumb ball. I'm probably going to put this up on the screen. It's going to like cut it off or be super big.
Anthony, star of the show.
He said, not a thumb ball like this. I'll have to check that out, Anthony. But yeah, for me, is like I said, just using the old track balls for way back. Yes, I go way back. So anyway, any more gear questions, feel free to ask. But I do have a couple things. Like I said, I want to use this as partial training because I've gotten a lot of questions on CRM automations, how to automate things on your website. I'm in the process of setting up a new membership site for Profit First for MSPs. So Lori Hardkey, if you're watching this, we're going to be launching some really, really cool stuff. So go over to Profit First for MSPs. Check her out. We've got an academy. We're building her academy site, some live training. We're going to do remote production, all of that good fun stuff. Tatiana says, do I use a Rodecaster for the fun audio effects?
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. I'm going to switch over. Yeah, you can see.
I am rocking this is probably one of my favorite purchases was the Rodecaster Pro 2 that I've had for, man, it was actually just about a year ago. I got this and it has leveled up audio setup tremendously. I'm actually bringing in audio from a separate Mac Mini on channel 2, which is the audio tracks that you're hearing. All of the music is provided via Epidemic Sound. So check that out. I love Epidemic Sound. If you want a copy of my playlist, happy to share that with you as well. This is my Friday Jams playlist. But Tatiana, I do absolutely love the Rodecaster Pro 2. All kinds of scary voices. I've got another one here, just like robot. There's like megaphone.
Monster.
And then this is my chipmunk in a tunnel voice. Yeah, I have way too much fun doing this stuff.
Anyway, you can have so much fun with the Rodecaster Pro 2. So now they've come out with the Rodecaster Pro or Rodecaster Duo, the Rodecaster Streamer X. I know Alex from Take One Tech has been doing videos. I think Doc's done some videos on them. But I might have to get those just to play around. It says, how do you have it mounted up vertically? I haven't ventured into the next level audio yet. That is a great question, and I'm going to go behind the scenes cam here, but that is a great question, Tatiana. I'm going to switch cameras. Hopefully I don't make you too sick. The new Rodecaster Pro 2 has a Visa mount on the back of it. So this is actually just mounted, let's see if I can get a shot, on a monitor arm back here. So just a Visa monitor arm mounted on a walleye pole or wally pole. And then I have that going straight underneath of my Samsung monitor. And yes, I am a super nerd. I went right angle on all of the outputs so that I didn't have wires sticking up everywhere. So I am a super nerd. As you can see, everything's color coded, everything's labeled. But yes, absolutely love Rodecaster Pro 2. As I mentioned, the audio is coming in from a separate Mac. You can plug two computers into the Rodecaster Pro 2 and bring in audio from two sources. So I've actually got the audio from Epidemic Sound piping through on channel 4 here, which is a second USB channel. So I've got my main microphone here, the main chat, the main USB, which is my main Mac Mini 2, and then a secondary microphone, which I do some XLR inputs up here. When I'm on with a guest, I will program that into number 2. So I've got 4 headphone outputs. Yeah, we could go all day on talking about the Rodecaster Pro 2, but I love it. But yes, because it's Visa mounted as well, Tatiana, I can move that pretty much anywhere. I can move it up or down. But I pretty much have that in a stationary position right there on my desk. And yes, I've got 2 Stream Decks running below that. Again, it's a sickness. I almost bought the Pro version. I think my students would get a kick of the voices, especially if they're not expecting it. I think it adds just a little bit of, again, just a little bit of fun. Gotta have fun in life. Everybody's just way too serious. So see, Tatiana said, what's the advantage of using another computer? Let me move these, get this chat window moving a little bit better here. There we go. For me, Tatiana, the reason I is backups. I am a computer IT guy, as anyone might know. I've got 20, 30 years in IT, so I have a primary and a secondary. So the reason I have 2 Mac Minis is one goes down or I have trouble, I can actually switch over. I've got Ecamm, all my applications running over there, but I pipe my music in so that it's not using the resources on my primary streaming machine here. But yeah, that's the reason that I have that second. And again, that was one of the reasons I love the Rodecaster Pro 2 is I can immediately switch over midstream if need be to a completely different setup and be back up and running. All my scenes are programmed over there, so it is for redundancy more than anything. But again, I got these used over on Apple. Let's see if there's any refurbs over on Apple's site. But definitely take advantage of Apple's refurbished. I think I did see a couple of them. I think it's apple.com/refurbished. No. All right, so go back to the main page, and if you scroll all the way down here is under certified refurbished. Let's see if there's anything available on the refurbished site. But I got these Mac Mini M1s for $529. Yeah, here is M2, the new version. An M2 with 8-core and 10-core GPU for $509, which is insane. This is from James McKinley, said, I love the Friday jam sessions. This betting music reminds me of something big 1990 from 1998. Yes. Gotta have that, man. James and I, he turned me on to some other videos there. But yeah, if you're interested in getting into live streaming or the Mac world, that is a phenomenal deal on an M2, the brand new chip, $100 off. But yeah, constantly keep an eye out on Mac's refurb site, because you can get some phenomenal deals over here. But yeah, I'm probably going to be looking at, see if there's any Mac Studios. There are Mac Studios, so $300 savings on a Mac M1 Studio. Yeah, so that's just crazy. Some of the deals they have on there. Anthony said, are you using a KVM or is there a second KVM monitor setup? No. That is the awesome thing about Mac, Anthony. Sorry, you're a Mac guy, so you would understand this. That is called, it's not continuity, that's the camera. The name just left me, but I control my whole setup, Anthony, from one keyboard and one mouse. So I can show you right here. So this monitor, and this monitor are all running off of one Mac Mini M1. This monitor is the display on my second Mac Mini. But check this out. I'll show you right here on the screen. Maybe. Actually, here. I'm going to turn off this monitor so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Let me turn that. So, Anthony, right here. So you can see my mouse up here. I move down to mouse number 2. I move it over here. You can see that on the screen. So that is monitor number 3. And yes, there is a display link adapter I had to get in order to have 3 displays on a Mac Mini. But if you go to orangenomad.com/gear, I'll go to that page in a minute. But what I want to show you is when I move this mouse over here and I go to the edge of the screen, look what happens. It shows up over here on my second Mac Mini. So this is the one I do. I monitor the live stream on a second computer. That's the other advantage, Tatiana, to having a second computer, is I can actually monitor the stream without pulling bandwidth off of my main streaming computer. But yes, that is one keyboard and mouse for all of the setup. And when Apple came out with that, I was absolutely in love. Now I'm kind of stumped. Let's see if I can get that for you, Anthony. What that is actually called. I know there's a name for it. If somebody knows the name of the Apple's, it's not continuity mode. That keeps coming to my head. That is the camera. Universal control. Universal control. That's it. Universal control allows you to connect, and it will even work on an iPad, Anthony. If you have an iPad near your setup, your mouse can actually move and go down onto your iPad. My iPad's in my gear closet. So, but yes, universal control. Brain fart on a Friday afternoon. So, James, thank you for that. I'm going to check that video out as soon as we are off the air. James always shares cool videos with me. But yeah, if you're curious about my gear setup, so anybody who happens to be watching this, go to orangenomad.com/gear, and I will give you everything that is on my desk at current and some things I've tried in the past. So if you want video gear, audio gear, lighting, cable management, the software I use, and data protection, yes, absolutely everything. And yes, it'll take you straight to Amazon. Yes, these are affiliate links. That is how I pay to keep the lights on and keep buying all of this gear. But anyway, so the question for you to get the 3 monitor set up, this is the guy right here. It is a pluggable 4K DisplayPort HDMI dual monitor adapter. And let's see what that's going for on Amazon right now. It's $99. So that is how you can get an M1 Mac Mini to have 3 displays. That is absolutely key for me. Tatiana said, all good points. Thanks for the BTS look. Yeah, happy to do that. I may just do a live stream again soon. I haven't done a BTS tour. I did all kinds of cable management a few weeks ago. Went all nerdy on my cable management because that's just how I am. I'm a nerd. Let's see. Tatiana said, since you're an IT pro, how do you handle internet connectivity for your studio to make sure you don't have trouble? Yesterday, I was a guest on a live stream having a blast, and then I froze for everyone. Of course, it was an unflattering expression. It always is. It's like hitting the pause button when you're watching something on TV. Like everything always freezes in an awkward frame. Let's see here. Tatiana said, I'm hardwired to the router modem by Ethernet. Wi-Fi was also enabled. Without actually knowing your setup, the other thing that I definitely would recommend is making sure that the connection and the wiring going from your modem to the Ethernet is Cat 6 at least, Tatiana. But yeah, if you're hardwired into that, I mean, that could have been a hiccup with the internet connection. That may not have been you. But yeah, I do everything at gigabit speeds. I'm looking at upgrading everything to 10 gig Ethernet. Waiting on a couple things to come out from Ubiquiti, personally. But yeah, hard to know without seeing your setup. Tatiana would know what the issue was. Yeah, I always have redundancy at the internet connection level too. I've got it, fail safe over at the router level to a second connection. So anyway, so that's... Yeah, I could get all nerdy with you. I've got a gigabit switch sitting underneath my desk, a gigabit switch in the gear closet, hardwired right to the 2.5 gigabit port on my modem. That's how everything is wired in my office. And again, I'm probably going to be looking at upgrading that to 10 gig soon. We shall see. Anthony, yes, I do have quite a gear habit. Tatiana, I shotgun a cable and... I don't know what a tenacious connection is. Maybe that's just a typo. We'll blame it on Siri autocorrect. Let's see here. Yes, I need help with cable management. I might do a whole show just on cable management. Like, I just went all kinds of super nerdy underneath the desk because I don't like to see wires. Like, when I'm sitting down, I don't like to see wires. So I try to hide as many of the wires as possible. When I walk in my studio, I have a desk that moves around, so I don't like to see cables dangling from the bottom either. I know some people don't care about that, but it drives me absolutely crazy. Anthony makes a good point. Anthony's in IT, by the way, as well. Tatiana said, if Wi-Fi and Ethernet are both enabled, It is possible that it might have switched. Extremely unlikely on Apple. So thank you for clarifying that too. So tenacious is a fiber provider in Texas. Hadn't heard of them. I learned something today, Anthony. Thank you. But yeah, happy to answer any questions. Tatiana, if you want me to do a whole show on gear setup and cable management, let me know, because I might see if we can get some fellow e-cammers to maybe join in, and we'll just maybe nerd out about setups, all that good fun stuff. I probably have, like I said, this has been a work in progress over 3 years for me to get to this point with my studio. And I haven't tinkered in a while. I added any new gear. Actually, I take that back. I lied. I did add a OWC, and I didn't put that in my gear list yet. I bought that last month, an OWC USB 4 or Thunderbolt 4 dock underneath my desk. Just so that I can have a little more throughput. And the other thing is to be able to show you something cool here. I actually have a second cam link that goes as an output. This is the reason I got the OWC Thunderbolt dock, because what you're seeing right here is actually the second monitor that comes off of my Mac Mini 2. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you. If I drag this monitor up, so this is a display window from my second Mac Mini. So it has a cam link attached into my streaming Mac Mini. Again, I just was playing around and wanted a secondary way of pulling in the input from my Mac Mini, because I was using NDI, but it was crazy glitchy one episode, and had a second cam link sitting around, and I said, why not? Let's make good use of that and get that hooked up. So yeah, so Anthony said, I thought tenacious was nationwide. I don't think so. I've not heard of them here in Ohio, at least. Tatiana, if you've heard of them, let me know. So thanks for... I'm waiting on fiber to come to the neighborhood that I'm in. As soon as I am able to get fiber, I will have a fiber connection coming in. But right now I have a gigabit connection coming in. I think it's a gigabit download and 35 upload is my primary internet connection coming in here to the studio. But I've been more than happy with it. It is through Xfinity. I know a lot of people rag on them, but I think we've been here almost 2 years. I think I've only had it go down once or twice. So I can't rag on Xfinity too bad. Comcast, Xfinity. But yeah, if any more questions on setup, just let me know. But I did want to, since this is kind of my nerdy Friday thing, I wanted to answer a couple questions via video for some of my coaching clients that has come in this week. But I want to cover, a lot of people are curious how to set up CRM, email management, automations. So I want to kind of do a brief-ish tutorial on that and setting that up. Yeah, Tatiana said, yes, cable management, internet setup would be awesome. You could use me in my messy cables as a makeover case study. It drives me crazy because I like everything tidy. I think you and I are definitely alike, Tatiana, especially spending 5 weeks with you in Doc's class. I definitely can see that about us. I hate messy stuff. I'm a super, my studio is actually super minimalist just because I hate clutter. I know a lot of people have all kinds of stuff going on in their backgrounds, and I just keep it super simple with my display and all that good fun stuff. So Anthony said he'll even come out and help you. So thank you. Thanks for jumping in and supporting the folks. So, oh, great question, Tatiana. How did I come up with Orange Nomad? That is an interesting story, actually, and it takes me back, 2013? Almost a decade. My last company, I have had an orange sickness for quite some time. As you can see, almost everything that I have has some hint of orange in it. So I've had the color orange for a long time, and when I sold my IT business in 2014 and finally took a real vacation after 10 years and went to Florida to visit my folks and my family, and I was sitting on a beach for the first time where no tech support calls, no emails were coming in. My phone was actually quiet for the first time in 10 years. And I thought about what I wanted to do going forward, and being a serial entrepreneur, I kind of hate that term. I'm a repeat entrepreneur since I was 8. But I was sitting on a beach, and I didn't really, for the first time, I didn't felt like I had a home, if you will. And I knew from spending 30 plus years in tech that the capabilities of being remote, which everybody is now, the Pandora's box has been opened because of COVID, but this has been possible for over a decade. All of the remote possibilities we have to work anywhere with a laptop and an internet connection was my dream. And now I had for the first time in 10 years, I was not locked to a business. I was not locked to clients, and I had a chance to refresh for the first time. So I combined my love of orange with the fact that I wanted to work wherever I want, whenever I want, and how much I wanted to reset my whole ideals as around work and life. So I kind of added the orange and the nomad, where I wanted to work with anywhere. That's how Orange Nomad was born. It came from a margarita on a beach in Florida in December of 2014. So I relaunched or started Orange Nomad on January, I think I registered the domain January 1st, 2015, and started with absolutely no plan. When I sold my IT business, I went through that whole merger process for 6 months and decided I wanted out of IT. I wanted to do something different. I enjoyed tech, but I wanted to do more coaching and help people, struggling entrepreneurs. And my whole mantra now is I transform underdog entrepreneurs like myself into calm, unstoppable CEOs. And we do that through business process and mindset. So that's my sales pitch, if you will, Tatiana, on where Orange Nomad came from. But that is an awesome question. Thank you. Anthony said, your setup is minimalist. Hopefully you didn't hit your head on the way out. So a quiet phone. Yeah, that was very surreal for me. For the first time in 10 years, I woke up in the morning with nothing on my phone. No tickets came in, no text messages, no emails to respond to. Man, it was a weird feeling. I was like a fish out of water, really, during that time and trying to transition. But it was kind of really weird. But yeah, no plan. I didn't have a plan. I looked at my wife and said, I think I put in my 2 weeks, or I put in my notice right after Thanksgiving that year that I was leaving the company that I had sold to, and said, yeah, I'll transition, help you find the new operations director. But yeah, as of December, Christmas Day of 2014, I'm out. I want to be out of the IT industry and haven't looked back since. So, but yeah, so yeah, absolutely, Tatiana. I need to get calm. Yes, and for me, calm means quite a few things for me. Calm, I mean, I'll go to my website. You can see what my version of calm is these days. That's what I do now, and my version of calm was very different than what it was before. This is my version of calm right here. Calm is family first. Calm is more independence. Calm is sustainable habits. Calm is joyful. That is what I'm about delivering to underdog entrepreneurs. So if that is you and you're watching this stream live or on a replay, give me a thumbs up. I've been an underdog my whole life. I come from a big family, a big poor family. Worked in a steel coal mining town here. I'm back in the same area where I grew up. But now I'm all about, I did the whole hustle grind mindset, working 7 days a week, 70, 80, 90 hours a week for 10 years in IT. But yeah, I am polar opposite of that mindset these days, and because it nearly killed me, literally nearly killed me. And I see this over and over again when I talk to and I coach entrepreneurs, that people are just burnt out. The pandemic was even worse on people. But I'm all about teaching people how to live in this manner, and it requires unlearning so many things that we're taught about business, about life, about how to manage things in a different mindset, first of all. But once you go from a place of having that different mindset, for me, then it's up creating systems and process with checklists and all that good fun stuff. That's how we do that. Yeah, Anthony's right. Yeah, I'm still not out of IT. I'm not, just a different focus of it. What was interesting is my coaching business actually started I started getting calls from people. Once I got out of IT, it was probably a couple months went by, and I started having a lot of the folks that I had been in touch with over my 30-year career in IT that wanted me to teach them how to do that, how to create a business that works for them. But I have helped probably 20 or 30 IT providers transition into doing something different and get out of IT totally. I've had give you one instance. I had one IT provider wanted to get out of, sell his business. I helped him do that. He is now a firefighter, full-time firefighter. So he wanted to have more meaning and purpose in his life. So yes, he went from putting out IT fires to putting out actual fires. But I said kudos to him. He is happier than he's ever been in his life. But yeah, it's about unlearning what success is, unlearning what it is to run a business instead of a business running you. And that's why I love answering questions like this on a Friday afternoon, listening to some jams. 70 to 90 hours a week, so close to my reality, and that is a reality for a lot of IT folks, and a lot of people don't realize that. That, you know, most IT folks are introverts, helpful introverts that just want to help people. And a lot of times they do that to their own detriment. And that is the thing that I still think needs to change in our industry. And I'm changing that one business at a time. It's a slow process. But I am more than happy to help people transition out to doing something differently. Because I think we're all capable. We all have things inside of us that are and abilities to share. But yeah, Anthony, I'm with Tatiana. Got to keep yourself healthy. And it is, you know, I did that. I lived that whole hustle grind mindset through my late 20s and 30s, all the way up till I was 40 years old. And I said, enough of this crap. Like, this is not a way to live. You know, I had pneumonia for over a month, put me in bed, and I said, that's enough. You know, I was literally sleeping maybe 4 hours a night while taking Ambien. And I did that for nearly a decade. And I'm still paying the price for that. And I think that I see it is so easy for me to spot that overwhelm and that burnout in other IT providers. And I have lost a lot of friends even since I got out of the business because of just that, the stress of IT, the stress of that lifestyle, and the stress of having to live to somebody else's ideals. And that's still the thing that I dislike a lot about the MSP industry is it's very, very much ego driven. I'm sorry. I mean, I did it, so I can say it was very much ego driven. That if somebody else is growing, you have to grow. Everything is about bigger and more customers and more endpoints and more revenue and more MRR. And at some point, like, enough is enough. And I've talked to a lot of IT providers. Everybody's striving to get to that $1 million in revenue. And I'm here to tell you that nothing magical happens when you hit $1 million in revenue in any business, but especially in the IT business, because what I find in 99.9% of those instances is your profit margin is worse than it is at $500,000 or $750,000 in revenue. And you're doing much more work because you're now managing people and increasing a workload on yourself as an entrepreneur. And to me, that's just, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But everybody's about getting to that million. Then when you get to $1 million in revenue, now it's, I got to get to 2 million. Then it's 2 million to 5 million. At some point, if you're not good at creating systems and process, that business is going to kill you before you get to that point. And again, I have lost quite a few friends since I got out of the business nearly a decade ago. And that was one of the turning points for me, is I had a friend of mine, the very year I sold, was 59 years old and dropped dead of a heart attack. And that's when I looked at my life, and I was just about ready to turn 40 at the time. And I said, I don't want to be dead at 59. And if I keep going at this pace, I will be in a box probably before I hit 59. And I didn't want to be there. But yeah, Tatiana, I still struggle with this because I still see that mantra and that mentality being puked out from folks that are supposedly coaching and gurus in the MSP space are still teaching that. Anyway, like I said, I could go on a completely endless rant on that. But yeah, Anthony, thanks for hanging out with me today. Appreciate that. I'm going to record the second half of this. This is all recorded anyway, Anthony, but I'm going to put up, I'm going to be posting the next part of the clip, which is kind of my tutorial things, because I did want to do part of that while I was streaming today. So again, to answer some questions that I got for some folks this week, in the past couple weeks. But yeah, I'm going to take a quick drink. If you're just joining us, say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm going to pump up the jams a little bit. If you happen to be watching this on the replay, type in hashtag replay for me as well, so that I can say hello. I do follow all the comments, even post-stream, to you folks over on LinkedIn and YouTube. But yeah, I did want to cover a couple things today. Switch screens here. Today I wanted to show how to set up High Level. And if you're not familiar with what High Level is, it is a full-fledged CRM tool that can be used to run your business, your email automation, your sales automation. If you're in the IT space and you are a Tech Tribe member, if you're not sure what Tech Tribe is, check out the link in the description below. But I digress. As a Tech Tribe member, you get access to Growably, which is built on top of High Level. And it is a full-fledged CRM solution to be able to run your business, to be able to set up email marketing campaigns and do your marketing, your sales, your CRM, your follow-up. But I have a lot of people ask questions about how do I get it set up? How do I get everything initially set up? And that is one of the things with High Level. They're running at 100 miles an hour, so their training seems to be all over the place, and I think they are working on that. So I thought what I would do in this video is just show you how to set up Growably or / High Level, whichever one you're using. I use High Level internally and have been. I switched over from Infusionsoft about 2 years ago. High Level has been building much more tools and functionality inside of the product, so I've been tempted to move a couple times, but I am sticking with High Level. This is not going to be a full-fledged tutorial by any stretch of the imagination, but what I wanted to do was go through some initial setup steps that you need to take to get everything set up correctly so that you're able to maximize and be able to use the tool effectively. Because there's nothing like having access to a tool, even if it is free, if you don't know how to use it or things are not set up correctly. So what you're seeing on the screen here is my ClickUp. I'm going to do some more training videos on ClickUp, so like and subscribe the video if you're over on YouTube to get alerted. So the first thing, I'm breaking this down into things you have to do at the company level, things you have to do at the user level, and we're going to do, some brief tutorial training on how to set up the CRM, how to use the functionality inside of the CRM. So, but yes, so think about that. So I'm going to switch over, and so Tatiana said bye, Anthony. Yeah, and she said, yes, I have a lot of respect for the IT folks in our university. On another side, I've been waiting since June for a tech issue to be fixed with the hub not connecting audio with my laptop. Connects with Lightning on my iPad though, so here's my solution. Buy him a beer or buy him a pizza. Maybe you'll get that. Maybe. I don't know. Bribery sometimes works. Just saying. All right, so what I want to do is walk through some initial company setup steps, and these steps are going to be generally the same whether you're using High Level or Growably. So I hit this little drop down here. So here is all the setup steps, and this is what I help my clients with in going through the setup of their High Level to be able to use for their business. I'm going to go full screen so you actually can see this, and I'm going to switch back and forth between my ClickUp and High Level so I can show you how to use that. First thing I do is cover how to get support. So if you are over in Growably, there is a little button down here that says, can we help? And you can submit a support ticket, look up help articles right there at the bottom. So that's the first thing. I always show people how to get tech support for their issues. So again, this is going to be kind of a walkthrough setup. The other thing is turn on all labs features. So if I switch back over here and I go down to settings, you'll know what I'm talking about. These are kind of some beta type features that High Level rolls out on a regular basis. So go to settings, labs, and make sure you turn on all of these little sliders so that things will make sense, because they're releasing more and more features. And again, at the time of recording this is what is available right now. So I'll cover that in a second. Two-way email sync with Gmail and Office 365. So that's the first thing I do is turn on all of those sliders. So boom, got that checklist. The next thing we need to do is go into our business and profile, make sure that's set up correctly. So the first thing you're going to do is check time zones. So I'm going to go through this as well, the business and profile setup. So I'm still over here in settings, but if I scroll up and I go to my business profile, this is going to be all the things about your business. So you want to make sure you go ahead and plug in your logo, all those fun support things. Duplication, I don't like duplicates, so I make sure that that is off. But the big thing that you want to make sure of is your time zone. Now, by default, high level, I believe, comes in at Eastern time zone. So if you might be in a different time zone, this may be defaulted to something differently. If you're on a Tech Tribe member and you're using Growably, this will automatically be on Sydney, Australia time. So you want to make sure you change the time zone at the business level. So that's your business profile. And I think that was it for here. And again, these are pretty self-explanatory how to set all of those up. So the other place you want to do that is in your My Profile. You want to go in and set up your email signature. All of that can be set up. Your availability can be set up in here. You'll want to connect Zoom. So if you have meetings and calendars, you can set up Outlook calendar synchronization as well as two-way email synchronization. Again, this is a full-fledged CRM, but you have access to all of that. And then the other place, like I said, you want to make sure, as you can see, this is a Growably account. I'm going to move my head out of the way real quick so you can actually see this is Growably. So this is Growably. And as you can see, the default time zone for my profile is set to Australia Sydney time. So I need to go in and change that to, let's see, Eastern time zone, EDT, and then come down here and then update availability. So you can actually put in the days and times that you work, and you can have multiple days, multiple hours during those days. So again, not a full tutorial. This stuff's pretty self-explanatory, and if you're an IT person, you totally understand how to do all of this fun stuff. But if you're setting up high level for the first time and have questions, you're watching this video, drop it in the comments. Happy to answer any questions that you might have as well. So if you're not familiar with what high level is, go to orangenomad.com/high level. Get a 14-day free trial to check all of this stuff out for yourself. But this will be a great walkthrough video on how to get everything set up. So let's make sure I got everything. So I did the make sure the time zones are set up. Notifications, that's another one that seems to be hiding on here. So these are all the conversation notifications, and you can do them in-app, email, or SMS if you have that set up. So all of that, again, just go through and check the boxes that you want, uncheck the ones you don't want, set up your notifications. Then be sure to come down here and hit save. You may have to close this little box here, but be sure to hit save once you've updated your preferences for notifications. And then while you're here, if you have other team members, this is one of the cool things about high level is you can have unlimited team members inside of your account. Infusionsoft, Active Campaign, a lot of those will charge you for additional user accounts beyond a certain point, but you have unlimited ability to add every single member of your team if you wanted to inside of your CRM tool. So keep that in mind. Let's switch back over here. That's notifications and add team to your profile. So that is it. So that's it on that. The next thing where people get stuck is setting up their email for sending email. And yes, you can do full email setup out of high level or Growably. So again, I'm in my Growably account. So if I'm still in settings, and if I come down here to email services, the service that I recommend and the Tech Tribe recommends is Mailgun. You can get a free account of Mailgun, by the way. So this is absolutely free to set up. So if you go to mailgun.com, there is a pay-as-you-go plan. So, but they have a free plan that you can sign up for, a 30-day free trial. But one of the things here, let me go switch over. So those of you who are Tech Tribe members, Nigel did post this over in the forums. There is an unadvertised Mailgun plan that's free for sending up to 1,000 emails per month. And this is good for most small businesses with a small list. And I think it's $1 per 1,000 for over that, if you happen to go over that. Super cheap. So initially, it's going to put you automatically on a 30-day or $35 a month trial plan. But as soon as you sign in, change over to the Flex Pay G plan, and then you'll have a free Mailgun account. And if I come over here, you have the ability to set up your own custom domain. And again, here's the pricing. So it's $1 per 1,000 emails. So keep that in mind. It's super cheap. But if you have questions, have issues getting that set up, let me know. I'm going to go back in here. So you want to set that SMTP service up in here, which is Mailgun. And then once you have all of that set up, you're going to come in here to edit. You're going to enter the API key. As soon as you enter that, it's going to make an API call to Mailgun. And then your domains that you have set up in Mailgun will show up here. Then you click save. Super simple. But that is the ability to, instead of using, as you can see, Mailgun is used by Growably. So the default is Mailgun. But you want to set up your own SMTP service for being able to send emails. So I wanted to cover that too. The other thing is a lot of people are generally setting up a new domain for sending out these emails. But I did want to point out a couple things with that. A lot of people will set up a CRM tool. I've seen people do it with MailChimp, where they'll set up a MailChimp account, import 10,000 records, and then try to start bulk sending 10,000 people. It doesn't work. You get your account shut off. The same will happen if you try to do that with Mailgun. So my words of wisdom to you is there's a term called warming up your domain. So what you want to do is once you have Mailgun set up a few user accounts, contacts inside of your Growably high-level account, and then do some tests over that. Just send messages from your high-level to an email account. Maybe it's a friend of yours. It could be another email account, like a Gmail account. And then you can reply back. So what happens over that week or so as it warms up the domain and it propagates so that you don't get seen as a new email provider that's sending out spam messages. Because if you try to do that, especially in the first couple weeks of setting up a new domain, it will get flagged and you'll be in all kinds of issues. So don't do that. Don't do it with Mailgun. So if you happen to be doing that with another email provider service and end up getting it shut off, that's probably why. Just letting you know. So you want to warm up the domain first, and that's super easy to do. It just takes a little bit of patience. The other thing you want to do as you get everything set up is do a Mail Genius test. So if you're not familiar with Mail Genius, I think it's just mailgenius.com. Can't spell today. Might be IO. We'll see what I get. Hopefully I don't get anything junky. Nope, that's actually it. All right. So this is the ability to tell whether or not your email is going to land in the spam folder, because everything is about deliverability. If you're sending emails and they never make it to the inbox, this is a great way to find out absolutely free what the problem actually could be. So what you're going to want to do is see this right here. I'm going to copy that email. I'm going to come back into my high level, and I'm actually going to create that as a contact. And I do recommend that you do this. Nigel has covered this in a separate video as well. But I'm going to go into contacts, and I'm going to just create a contact called Mail Genius. Get this to load. Nigel showed that in his video as well. So I'm going to paste that email address that I just got over on Mail Genius, and then I'm going to hit save. And then you come back into Mail Genius, and what you're going to do is I'm going to go into that contact, and I'm going to come down here to email, and then I'm going to send an email. As you can see, it's going to go to that address. And then what it'll do, it will actually show you a score. It takes about 30 seconds to a minute, but it will show you your score and tell you if there's anything set up improperly with your email account. I'm not going to do a whole mailgun tutorial, but there is a process. There's domain records that have to be created. I could get super nerdy and super technical with that, but I won't do that today for the sake of time. But I definitely recommend doing that on a periodic basis, because it's not set it and forget it with email. So I have this set up as a recurring task to go in there and do this once a month to make sure that that email deliverability score is 90 or above. And it'll tell you, like I said, it'll show you anything that happens to be issues with that account. So that's setting up email. Default custom values. And again, I'm hoofing through this pretty quick. If you're probably going to be watching this on 1.5 speed, if you're happy to be watching this on a replay. So again, if you go to settings down here at the bottom, scroll down to custom values, and there are some custom values that are preset for you in Growably. One of them is your colors, and your email unsubscribe is also in there. So these are basically short codes, if you will. If you're familiar with WordPress land, these are like short codes. So they point to your logos. So if you have a logo on a dark background, a light background, that way when you get templates, you won't have to change anything. You just use this little bit of snippet of code in emails or on websites or funnels that you build inside of Growably or High Level, and it will automatically put that in there, put your logo automatically in all of those templates. So super easy to do. And again, you can set up as many custom values as you want. I know the Infusionsoft only let you set up 150 last time I checked when I left Infusionsoft. So that's custom values. Let's see here. Website widget is the other thing that you have access to. And you're probably wondering what that is. But if you go back here and I go down to sites, and then I go to chat widget. This is a little plugin that sits down on the bottom right hand of your screen, kind of like this one over here, that people, when they click that, you can customize all of the functions of that little chat bubble. So it's like a little widget window, looks like this. And again, you can customize every single field in here. You can change the colors to your colors. You can change all of this information in here. So it's like a little lead capture device or, script for your website. And then you can also configure the acknowledgement message when somebody submits it. So you can embed that right into WordPress using Lead Connector. Actually, I'll show you that right here. So if I click Help, Lead Connector is a WordPress plugin that will connect your high-level /Growably to your WordPress account. There is Android and iOS mobile apps, and there also is a Zapier integration called Lead Connector. So it's not called High Level. It's a white label lead generation tool, a way of getting data from one place to another inside of High Level. But get that set up, download the app. There's your setup steps. The next part is integrations, and that is going to be over here in settings. And then if I scroll down to integrations, you can connect your Google account, your Facebook account, you can connect QuickBooks. All of these things are absolutely free to use inside of Growably. So Google account will pull all of your Google Analytics, so I recommend going in and setting up all of those integrations. And there is Stripe, so if you happen to take payments, you can integrate. It has full e-commerce capabilities inside the CRM tool for you to be able to use. I already talked about warming up the domain, so I actually covered that. So that is my setup at the company level. And again, it's just go through, set all those things up. If you're not familiar with how to use Stripe, I may do a separate tutorial on that. So those are the things you need to do at the company level. So So if you're just joining us, have any questions, pop that in the chat. Say hello if you're just joining us. I'm going to take another quick drink, and then we're going to go on to the initial user setup steps. These are pretty straightforward. All right, so you can set up two-way email and calendar synchronization, and you can set up booking calendars. So those are all of the functionality you have. Again, I think those were at the My Profile level down here. So you want to make sure that those things are integrated. You have two-way email synchronization so that when you're messaging out of High Level, people are replying back with Gmail or Outlook. That conversation will come back into High Level for you. Then set up booking calendars. So you have access, if you're using another calendaring tool like Calendly or Appointment Core, there's a bunch of different calendar programs. But you have the ability to create unlimited calendars in here. So if I go into calendar settings, I can create as many calendars as I want. I can take payments on that. Doesn't cost me any extra, by the way, to take payments. I know that Calendly, you have to be on the Pro plan in order to take Stripe payments. So if you are a coach and you book for appointments, if you're an IT provider and you charge for assessments, you can actually have a calendar where people can book their own IT assessment and pay for it right inside your site. Then obviously you need to import contacts if you're moving in from another CRM tool. Show you quickly how to do that. If I go into contacts, then I come up here, I click import contacts, and then I can drag and drop my CSV file. So I'm going to go ahead and upload a file. I created a test. Let's see here. I think I put it on my desktop. So I create a little test CSV file. Then I'm going to hit next, and then all we do is map the fields. As you can see, it automatically mapped all of the fields. So you do not have to have a special spreadsheet with fields in it. But there's only so many that High Level / Growably will recognize. But as you can see, I would map the field from the CSV file to a contact field inside of Growably High Level. And then when I'm done, I can do a little bit more advanced things there. If I wanted to, what do you want to do with those? I can add them to existing contact records. And again, this is for duplications. I can tag them. I can add them straight to a workflow or campaign, which is super helpful. But if you don't want to do all of that, I just hit go ahead and submit. And then I wait for it to process. That should be fairly quick. As you can see, there was only a handful of people on there. So if I come over here to contacts, as you can see, it automatically pulled in Joe Smith and Bob Felch from my list. So super easy to import contacts. Let's see here. Let's go over. So that's pretty much it. Go through, set up. And again, these are super easy to get set up. Import your contacts. Create and associate companies with contacts. As you can see, it automatically for Joe Smith. Let's make sure that it did that. So if you track things in your CRM tool by company, let's do a refresh here. And now we got a company. So as you can see, there's no company there. That is one of the little glitchy things with High Level right now. It's not mapping a business name. So if I come down here to general information, it's not mapping a business name to a company. Hopefully they fix that soon, but it's super easy to fix it. Just come down here to settings, scroll all the way down to the bottom to companies, and then just check this box right here which is create and associate companies with contacts. So what it's going to try to do is do that going forward. I did not have that box checked ahead of time, but now it's going to go through and try to recreate those companies from people I already had in the system. So you definitely want to check that, make sure that that is checked. So now if I go back here, we go to contacts and I go back into Joe Smith. Now I go under company. Now everything is under the company heading. So again, super easy to get data inside of Growably High Level. So those are the quick, easy setup steps for Growably High Level. I definitely recommend you go through that, and there's a few of them that you want to do on a regular basis, but this will help make sure that you're successful getting things set up correctly. So I'm going to do some future trainings on some user tutorials on how to do workflows, how to do automations, how to send campaigns, all of the good, happy, fun stuff. So thanks for tuning into this one. I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a great day. So if you're curious what I did there, I'm going to use parts of this live stream to snip it out and make that into one tutorial video. So I did my intro, my outro, did the training. I'm going to have to cut that in there into a little bit of bite-sized pieces. So thank you, Tatiana. Yeah, beer and pizza always work for bribery. But anyway, I've been trying to do more of a concerted effort to, when I do live streams, to do snippets of it so that I can do a lot of the production of tutorials and other YouTube videos while I'm live streaming. So I try to do those things, intros, outros, with the things I'm doing with Ecamm, with the Stream Deck, so that it cuts down on my editing time a lot. Because I don't want to. I used to spend days editing stuff, so I try to pre-plan my videos ahead of time so that when I go live, I can answer questions, I can interact with people, and then I also have snippets that are pretty much ready to go that I can pull right into Premiere. So I'm going to do another YouTube training video out of this. I'm going to do some shorts, snippets, all that good fun stuff. So Tatiana, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of the Ecamm fam. But yes, we will definitely make that happen. We need to do a stream together. I will definitely be in touch very, very soon as we get August production schedule planned out. Things are hopefully going to normalize here. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me on a Friday afternoon, Tatiana. But yeah, if you're curious too about my production schedule, I started a video series a couple weeks ago. This is my whole production / content production. As you can see, I'm a super nerd with this stuff. So a couple weeks ago, we covered the first part of this, which was the idea process, how to get things in ClickUp, how to start that process. So the next couple videos I'm going to be doing on how I do these recordings, and part of it is this video right here, which you're seeing, is starting to set up the messaging, the raw draft, aka the live stream. Then I'm going to go through the editing process. Then I'm going to show you how we upload that, and then how do we repurpose that out on our blog, out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and it's not Twitter anymore. I got to put a giant X there.
I have no idea what he was thinking killing the bird.
Anyway, so I got to put a giant X there instead of the little Twitter bird. Twitter bird after, what's it been, a decade and a half? But anyway, so we're going to turn that into newsletter content at some point as well. So the next series of videos, I'm going to be walking through how to do all of that, how to set it up in ClickUp, and also how to integrate some of this into High Level, which is, again, my CRM automation tool of choice. So it is 3 o'clock. It is lunchtime, coffee time for me. So I am going to jump off of this stream. Thank you so much for hanging out with me live. And again, I know I went super quick on the initial setup of High Level / Growably, but I figured I'm going to take this and be able to send snippets of this video out to those of you who are on the Tech Tribe If you're in IT and you have no idea what Tech Tribe is, check the link in the description. You get 40% off your first month. It is $49, by the way, which is super, super cheap. So if all you did was purchase it so you get access to Growably, high level is $97 by itself if you were to purchase by yourself. So join the Tech Tribe, get Growably for $49 basically. Well, you have access to a ton of other stuff inside of Tech Tribe. Highly recommend that. Can't recommend Nigel and his team now that he's got Andrea Welsh. Those of you who have been in IT for any length of time know that Andrea is a super rock star veteran of MSP and IT services marketing. But she has joined the Tech Tribe recently, so there are enormous things coming. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me on a Friday afternoon. I appreciate all of you. As I end every single live stream since April 1st of 2020, always stay humble and kind, and always, always, always do what is necessary. Peace.